Why is the Amazon important? Because it is the only defense we have against an evil that we ourselves have created. The global warming. Today we are watching our glaciers melting and our forests burning without compassion. Sometimes we see the problems of the world very far from our reality, but everything we do in our daily lives affects the entire planet. In the end, this is our home. We do not live in an apartment, nor a neighborhood, nor a city, nor in a country. We live on planet Earth, and it is time to take care of this home. Do you know how we can take care of it? Very easy. Traveling. Welcome to the Natamú Reserve. It is not in the heart of the Amazon, but it is in a key area for the conservation of this, the largest jungle in the world. Right here Colombia ends and begins in Peru. But these limits are nothing more than political. Its inhabitants, the indigenous people, do not distinguish between nationalities. Birds nest without noticing borders, and trees take root in one country and give gloomy to the other. This forest absorbs tons of carbon dioxide daily. The greenhouse gas we emit in our daily lives when we go in the car or when we cook. However, there is a much more lethal threat. Deforestation. In only 2019, the Amazon of Brazil suffered a deforestation of 9,762 kilometers, between August of 2018 and July of 2019, an increase of 29.5% over the same period by 2018. The figures in Colombia are not encouraging. In the Amazon region alone, 70% of deforestation was reported during the year 2018. It's time to stop this, and we can do it. In these remote and isolated regions of the interior of the country, the economy depends on access roads that are mostly precarious or non-existent. Illegality, corruption and state abandonment are also causing the scarcity of opportunities in this area. Therefore, the population is forced to undertake environmentally unfriendly practices, such as illegal mining, hunting and indiscriminate logging. However, the main cause of this problem are the large industries producing soybeans, cattle and wood, which, without compassion, mutilate the forest. Therefore, through tourism we can prevent such extinction to natural resources and direct damage to the planet from continuing to occur. In this video we will explain why, by traveling responsibly to these places, we can save the Amazon.
Today is a new day to start with the very good morning CaminanTr3s, with all the attitude, enthusiasm and joy to start a new day in the Amazon. From the frosts of Brazil we pass again to this inclement sun of the Colombian Amazon, to tell you CaminanTr3s that the adventure continues. Today we are going to take a tour of the Amazon River, practically most of the morning. We are, as you well know, if you saw our previous video, in the community of Macagua, on the banks of the Amazon River. It is a community of indigenous people who have been responsible for protecting the jungle and its animals to show them to tourism. If you want to know what a monkey sanctuary is like, a primate sanctuary in the jungle, then please go to our previous video, and there we will also give you some tips on where to stay and everything you need to know to come to this place in the Amazon.
Y ahí también les daremos algunos consejos de dónde hospedarse y todo lo que ustedes deben saber para venir a este lugar del Amazonas.
Today is a new day, and we are going towards a Peruvian village. We will cross the Amazon River to reach Natamú, a nature reserve that is part of a community called Chineria. There we are going to do several activities. Obviously, they all have to do with nature and especially with fauna. CaminanTr3s, welcome to this adventure. We will take the transporter, which will take us an hour and a half down the Amazon River in the direction of Leticia, and there we will then take a very small raft to enter the entire flooded jungle to Chineria, which is the community. And from there, we will leave for Natamú, which is the reserve. Here we go.
Vamos.
At this moment we begin to enter through the Chineria Canal. Precisely, very close is the community of Chineria, and we go to the Natamú Reserve. We are about half an hour from Leticia. This would already be Peruvian territory. And remember that we came from Macagua on public transport, which was a journey of about an hour and a half. This is the landscape that the Amazon gives us.
Here is the community of Chineria. From the shore of the Amazon the houses begin, to the last house, where we leave. From here in Leticia in a boat, in a small boat, with motor, which we say, is like an hour, round trip. This is a community of Peru. We are close, about half an hour from here to Leticia. Here all the inhabitants are dedicated to agriculture because the Peruvian government has forgotten us in the Amazon. Right? That's why we here in the community are very dedicated to agriculture. As it used to be my life. Very hard. Agriculture, the planting of bananas, cassava, cucumber, paprika, and now I dedicate myself to tourism as a guide of the Natamú Reserve. I really like being a guide because I can conserve the forest and everything that is natural from here in this area.
Hello.
Here is the house of the lady who is cooking in the reserve, in Natamú. Right? Hey, shake his hand, son. Here near the community we are seeing a crop of a neighbor of the community. They are now growing cassava. For what? So that the cassava grows very beautiful and has good fruit. Right? Each crop grows when freer. Every day it is growing more. So, cassava can last up to 7 months for it to have the fruit. This is the initial school for children, from 3 years to 5 years. From 5 years onwards we took them to elementary school. Yes, here they finish their initials and then they are taken to another school, which is beyond. Let's get to know the school.
A smile for the camera. A smile for the camera. A smile. He is ashamed. See, he has been embarrassed.
The most beautiful thing about Chineria is that here, as residents of the community, we dedicate ourselves much more to fishing, and we eat fresh fish. And that's why we are very healthy here. We are very dedicated to fishing. Here in the community we are 270, counting all the children. Here are 50 houses, 50 homes.
Well, hello everyone, my name is Juan David, I've been living here for a while now. As the comrade said, we are entering through the Chineria Canal. They come from Macagua, indeed, which is what we call highlands. Right now we are entering the lowlands. The lowlands are quite important because in rainy seasons they are floodplains. We also call them that because they float. Right now we are entering through the Chineria Canal. It is very particular to find that it is a fairly swampy place, precisely because of what it is floodable. Right now we are in seasons, let's say, at a time when the water level is drying and the water level is going down. When it's rainy season, this whole landscape, everything you see around, floods.
If you are asking how, or why is there still the possibility of navigating these rivers? Why do these water canals stay their course, even in seasons where the level of the Amazon River is very low? Well, it's thanks to a snake, it's thanks to the anaconda, the water constrictor boa. She is in charge of cleaning these canals so that there is communication between the lagoons and the rivers. But it is better to explain it to us Juan David, who is an anthropologist. Which, paradoxically, and curiously, we already knew both Jose and I, but we did not know that we were going to meet him here. With him we were studying together at the university. Well, let him tell you exactly why the anaconda is so important, not only for the ecosystem, but also for the ancestry of the Ticuna and many other communities in the Amazon.
Here we continue entering through the canal. Let's say, as you see, this is a body of water that joins the waters of the Amazon that are on that side with the deepest areas of the flood forest. As we get into flooded forests, we will find blacker waters, product of the leaves and all the vegetation that falls into the water, dies and gives that pigment and gives a special acidity to these waters. What's going on? When we are in dry season, many of these canals and many of these forests dry up. But this type of canals, like this Chineria Canal, are still alive because of the water constrictor boa or the anaconda as we know it. The anaconda is the mother of water, as they call it in many places. In many departments of the Colombian Amazon there is a respect for these animals. Ecologically they are supremely important. Why? Because they are in charge of keeping these spaces clean and of connecting and carrying and bringing the fish of the Amazon to the black lagoons. The anaconda is the mother of water, she is the queen within the water, she protects everything inside the water and destroys many things that live above the ground.
The snake that for many people is ruthless and monstrous, for those who live with it, is the mother of water. The indigenous people say that when an anaconda is killed, the jungle is killed, because it is precisely this reptile that is responsible for cleaning the lakes and canals of this vegetation, which when it grows excessively, steals oxygen from the water and therefore the fish die. That is why we say that nature is wise, and that each species that inhabits it, has a specific function that maintains a stable ecosystem.
Here in these lands it rains approximately 250 days a year, but, thanks to days like today, in which the temperature rises to 25 degrees Celsius, all that water evaporates and contributes to rainfall even in other parts of the planet. My friends CaminanTr3s, welcome to the Natamú Reserve. A place that we could hardly describe in words. Maybe suddenly a few photos or an aerial shot of this place speak much more than I can say. On a natural setting. Spectacular. And here, in the middle of the jungle, the Natamú Reserve, what it tries to let its visitors know, is that this place needs protection, and that is why we are going to talk to you and we are going to tell you about all the projects that are being carried out here, so that through ecotourism, from nature tourism, let's all give this jungle a reason for being. So we will be able to take care of the jungle together. To the extent that you come and help us spread these images, we will be contributing to the care of the Amazon rainforest. Welcome to Natamú. This is Natamú.
In the short time we've been here, we have realized that this is not a lodging or an activity, but it is a true natural experience in every sense of the word. It is finding oneself with a community process, where the guide is totally linked to the territory and also to the community. As Joseph told you, this reserve is a project that is born from the community and for the community. Oh, well, basically, the services here, there are 6-7 cabins. How many are they? There are 5 cabins. There is a restaurant. There is service of liquids, juices, so that you stay hydrated, also coffee, and obviously, there are many things to do here in the reserve. There are hikes, there is kayaking, the river, and also an activity that is for us impressive, which we are going to show you tonight. Bon appetit, it is very good. A sancochito. Sancocho is also Peruvian. Yes, it can be said. It is. Sancocho is also made in Peru. It's tasty. We eat. And then to explore the jungle.
This tree, we here in the Amazon, know it as the OJ. It is a medicinal tree that is in the Amazon and serves to purge children. The resin is removed. It is a very white resin like a milkmaid. They take that out, boil it well, and give it to children to purge, so that the child throws away all the parasites that he has inside the belly. See what comes out like this.
The Ticunas are a population of indigenous people, which has been documented. In the past, they called this tree the tree of punishment. When a person had committed some crime, be it stealing, killing, and even the most serious of all, rape, well, this was one of the punishments. The person was brought in, stripped naked by the tree was beaten, and then the ants came out. Many say that the person had to endure what he had to endure, and if he died, this was because he had to die. Because a bite of this and hurts, but imagine the bite of 100, 200, 300, or 1,000 of these ants. Well, there is a pretty strong shock in the body, and finally they can end up killing it.
Right now we are in the jungle. Right now we are going to reach the largest tree, that is the ceiba. Yes, let's see. We are getting clean air, not polluted air. We see the ground full of leaves because the trees release the green leaves that then decompose. And trees also benefit from these decomposing leaves.
What did you do before you became a guide?
Before becoming a guide, I dedicated myself to agriculture, planting bananas, cassava, cucumber, paprika. Sometimes I also did a lot of damage to nature, felling the trees to plant crops. But not now. I really like being a guide on this reserve. In order to take care of the trees. Yes, we are going to get to La Ceiba. This is the largest tree in the Amazon.
This is the largest tree we will find on this tour. On this hike. It is perhaps the most important tree for culture, for the different indigenous cultures that are still settled from Argentina to Mexico. It is the mother who gives life to everything, is the one who hears the prayers and transmits them to heaven. This is the largest tree that can be found in all of Latin America and the second largest in the world. What these roots keep, imagine the height of this tree. Yes, look at my height and look. I don't even get to a third of a. No, much less than a root measures. The tree can measure about 50 meters. And honestly, the power this has is impressive.
Impressed and amazed by a large ceiba, the mother, the grandmother of this whole jungle. Now, we are going to carry out the most important ancestral practice, or one of the most important ancestral practices, of the indigenous communities that inhabit this area, and is fishing. We will be hand in hand with them, seeing how other practices and the different species that they had to collect daily. And today, they collect to take home. This is sport fishing.
Are you sure it's sporty? Wow.
That's good.
For David.
Let's find. Look at what you just took out. Was it yours? Well, Juan David already has dinner. Jose Manuel and Gustavo are left without dinner. They are punished. Evening begins to fall on this canal. While we wait for night, we are hearing a lot of birds singing and we are trying to fish. Although we have not managed to catch anything. Apparently CaminanTr3s is going to run out of dinner tonight. The idea is to wait for the afternoon to fall while we see lots of birds. And the sounds of the Amazon rainforest. Now, we are hoping to be able to go at night to the jungle. We are looking for one of the most respected animals that the Amazon can have.
Welcome to the night in the Natamú Reserve. At this moment, as Gustavo told you, we are going to meet one of the most representative animals of the Amazon. But to find and see them, it must be done right now. So CaminanTr3s, welcome to a night adventure in the Amazon.
We know this specimen as the black caiman or jacaré do pantanal in Portuguese. The scientific name is Melanosuchus niger. That is the scientific name of the caiman. Let's say this caiman, it is about 70 centimeters and must be approximately 4 or 5 months old. If you touch his back, he probably still doesn't have a very hard shell. So, let's say that one of the main risks that all these species have, white caimans and black caimans, is that when they are born, they are easy prey for piranha fish or different, let's say, predators. One of the current problems is the consumption of the meat of this animal, especially the tail part. If you touch the beginning of the tail is tender. This part of the principle at the base of the tail is tender. This is, let's say, one of the most desirable dishes in many regions of the Amazon. Because it is only tender meat, indeed. Yes, the rest is also consumed, but especially the tail. The tail.
In the 70s he was persecuted for the fur trade. For this, only for these parts that are the favorites. Right? To make belts, wallets, bags, shoes. And right now, these caimans reproduce a lot, that's why they don't run out. Yes, here in the Amazon, this caiman is the largest in the area. Well, it is a favorite dish, but the little ones are no longer hunted. Right? Some big ones are still hunted. When they have an appetite to eat. The 5-meter caimans. Because they can live approximately almost 100 years. Large caimans. All caimans do not die in summertime. Caimans sometimes bury themselves. They bury themselves inside the moisture and only the tail always remains outside. Yes, this is why in the month of September the caimans are very skinny. They bury themselves. Because they don't feed on anything.
It is very interesting to see how now, tourism, if done in a responsible way, can not only help communities generate a sustainable economy, but also provide education. Thanks to tourism, the people who come to visit these communities, these territories, we can learn a lot about the different species of animals that inhabit this area. What we wanted to show you CaminanTr3s tonight was precisely that, how to look for caimans, which are very important species for the Amazon.
Los caimanes que son especies muy importantes para la Amazonía, pero no lo dijo David.
But, as David told us from the beginning, the idea is to be able not only to look for the alligator, but to understand that there are an unimaginable number of small, medium and large species that are around these ecosystems. All these species, from frogs, alligators and anacondas, have a mission which varies depending on the animal, within all that is the ecosystem.
Al igual que el caimán, especies que tienen una misión dentro de todo lo que es un ecosistema.
And well, to be able to be tonight listening to them, seeing some of these animals that have nocturnal behaviors, is something that really places us in a space where we are the observers, and at the same time we act as protectors. That is the mission we have on Earth, to protect our own existence. Very cool this activity, very educational. It is an experience that leaves many reflections on what we are as human beings and what we can do, if we unite as a species, for these territories.
Well, CaminanTr3s, as we have been emphasizing throughout this day, the Amazon is an unpredictable world of fauna, in which, today we have already managed to be very close to many species, which perhaps we only saw on television programs. But being so close to them and seeing them and learning from them, it is an experience that we should all live. It is important to emphasize that this activity is purely educational. Obviously, these animals in some other moments of the history of the Amazon were persecuted by the trafficking of skins, even also by the consumption of their meat. But today this is a purely educational activity, in which we all become aware of the care that must be taken with these species so that they last in history. The animal was never mistreated. This is why we go with people who know, expert people who know the species and know how to manipulate them. So the caimans were here inside the raft for a very short time. We did this to be able to study them, to analyze them, to understand them, and then also to be able to generate a good photographic record, so that we all know the riches we have in these waters. Not being more and describing a little the panorama and the night landscape that I have around me. Because I tell you that we are under a starry sky with a spectacular waning moon, which facilitates our vision. And well, they are things that fortunately, the light from the cameras cannot capture, and I say fortunately because, well, they are things that you have to come and live them. So, well, CaminanTr3s, we hope you liked this adventure. We want to remind you that if you are interested in coming to these places, you can communicate with ecodestinos. They are in charge of bringing you here to live an excellent experience, an experience in reality hand in hand with the communities and biodiversity of this land. Remember to subscribe to this channel. If you liked this video, give us a like. And if you want to come, you will never regret it. Tomorrow we will see you with a new adventure. We are still in the Amazon. And we love you very much and invite you to live.